Welcome everyone to a very special edition of Couch's Corner. It is the night the Vegas Knights made history and are going to the Stanley Cup Finals with a 2-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets to take a 4-1 series victory. Incredible. I don't think anyone thought they would handle Winnipeg the way they did. But we'll talk about that game a little later on in the episode. I'm going to talk to you a little bit of story time about the time I was a high roller in Vegas. I know I talk a lot about how I like, not the tourist stuff in Vegas or the big clubs, but I think this is a funny story and worth telling. So stick around for story time a little later on. But let's talk Knights. They're waiting for their opponents, either Washington or Tampa. Again, they're waiting to see who they're going to play next round, which is great for them. They get the extra rest. The other team, either Tampa or Washington, if they go 7, they're going to be a little more beat up. And I hate to say I told you so, but this is the route I said Vegas needed to take to make it to where they were. I needed Nashville, Winnipeg to go 7, beat each other up a bit. That's what happened. I think Winnipeg looked a little tired. I honestly don't think it was the pressure that got to Winnipeg. I really do think they were just a little fatigued. Vegas is very deep and surprisingly deep that people don't realize. They got 3 solid lines and a 4th line that contributed in this series big time. Reeves with the clinching series game-winning goal. Who would have thought that, eh? So good for Reeves coming back. I know he's a Winnipeg guy to score in his hometown to clinch that series. Is an incredible story. He must be on cloud 9 right now as well as the rest of the team. But I couldn't be happier. And a buddy of mine texted me today and just said, man, Vegas is losing a lot of money because of the Knights. And it's kind of funny that the team that's going to take down Vegas and the bookies in Vegas is their very own franchise. But I think they can handle it. Vegas is, they have a little bit of extra cash. They can handle some losses in the sports book. But good for people that bet on them early. I really do regret not taking that bet early on. And I'm usually a guy that places a bet at the start of the season for the Cup winners. For some reason this year, I just didn't do it. I know my buddy Todd Jackson used to live in Vegas, and that was kind of my hookup to get someone to go place a bet at the Bellagio bookies. But avoided it. Of course, a team I definitely would have picked to win it makes a historic run. But I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying the ride. And there was a time early on that I was, a little skeptical about them making it this far, if I'd be happy, if it's good for the franchise, good for the fan base. And now just enjoying the ride. I don't think this is something we'll ever see again in our lifetime, not just in hockey, but in sports, where a franchise comes in and their very first year is making a run at the championship. So just embrace it, have fun with it. I know there's a lot of haters out there, and I don't blame them because the Vegas fan base, they're a little arrogant in some of them. I know I joined this one fan group on Facebook, and everyone's talking about how you can't be a Knights fan anymore, and that, I lived there for 15 years and I'm Vegas born. But I hate to break it to you, you can't hashtag Vegas born if you only lived there 15 years. You literally need to be born there, I think, to use that hashtag. But anyway, they're funny. The fan base is funny. I think it is going to be a little frustrating for the hardcore hockey fans to listen to them for a little while longer. But you're going to have to, because it's happening and they're not going to shut up. So hopefully the real hockey fans will just, tolerate it for now, and not all of us are like the rest of them that are, first year hockey fans and claiming their stake in the Knights, and no one else can be a Knights fan unless you lived there or something. But it's funny, I was driving back from Halifax today, and it was right at the border in Halifax and Maine, and I getting gas at a gas station, and I just ran into some random Canadian wearing a Vegas hat. We shot the shit for a little bit about the Knights and stuff like that. So the fan base is spreading. It's wide. It's real. So just deal with it for now, and I'm sure the Knights will have their struggles in the future, bring back that fan base down to earth a little bit eventually. But for now, yeah, you're gonna have to listen to some crazy Knights fans, some Vegas people that are a little much, but it's fun. So just enjoy it. It's entertaining. There was a post on the Couch's Corner Facebook page about how this is if Vegas wins the cup, it's going to make a mockery of the NHL and all that. I 100% disagree. They're a Southern team, but they're packing their rank. They're creating some excitement around the league. Everyone's talking about it. It's not, and no offense, disrespect to Arizona or a team like that where they come in, they can't even fill the rink and it's empty all the time. It's kind of boring, and I get that part of it where I know there's some Canadian franchises out there that would do really well, but that's the world we live in. It is, it's still a business, and people need to make money. And but Vegas Knights, man, they have a fan base, and they're pretty hardcore. So we'll see how it goes in the future and how the Cup Finals go. But no matter what happens now, I think they've made history. It would be cool to see them finish it off now and see Fleury win another cup, and all these guys. The Goonies of the NHL here are making a run, and they're just having fun. So it's kind of cool to watch. I do think Fleury is making one of those cases that he almost has the Conn Smythe locked up. The only way I can see it not happening, even if they lose, is if he gets lit up 10-0 every game and just lets in a bunch of terrible goals and they lose the series, which I can't see happening. Other than that, even if they lose the series in 5 or 6 and he doesn't get lit up too bad, I think he makes a strong case for Conn Smythe. Some of the saves he made in the Winnipeg series alone, just unbelievable. You literally, those are, you take a whole career of highlights and he wrapped them up into one series and won them a few games just by himself. So good for Fleury. He seems to be having a good time, and just a class act if you see him in the interviews, and his smile on the ice after he makes a big save, even if a goal is let in, he kind of has a smirk on his face, and he knows he's just having a good time. So I'm cheering for Fleury. I'm cheering for Marchessault is a cool guy. Carlson is making a run, just an incredible year, and he continues. Riley Smith, that first line is. They play both ends of the ice, and that's what's impressive about them is that usually you get that top line that's super offensive, but they don't handle their business in the D zone. These guys do it, and Carlson was plus 49. I did have some arguments earlier on, right before the playoffs, about how Carlson should have been considered for the Hart Trophy, and I got lit up pretty good on Facebook. But I'm going to stand by it. I think he had an incredible year to be, that good defensively and offensively. Should be taken into consideration, but didn't happen, and I think the Hart Trophy will go to a worthy winner, because there were some great players this year, McKinnon and Hall. Kopitar, I don't know how he squeezed in there, but he had a good year, I guess, but nothing crazy, I didn't think. So the final matchup is going to be either Tampa or Washington. Either way, I think it's going to be great hockey. I think Tampa Knights is going to be fast and really skilled and just an incredible series to watch. But Washington, to see Ovechkin in there, to make a run at the Cup finally after his long career, and a great career at that. So hang on tight. Let's enjoy the games in Washington, Tampa. I hope you join me on the couch. I'd love to see your predictions, your comments, what you think of the Knights fans, what you think this will do to the NHL if an expansion team wins the Cup. I'd love to see the comments on that. Personally, I think it's great. I don't think it's a problem. Some people do, and I'd love to hear the arguments that way. So please let me know what you think about that. But I'm going Knights. Knights are going to just finish us off. They look really strong. They look like they're not just a pretend team that's getting lucky. They're legit, and they're going to make a serious run at the Cup. And at the very least, they're not going to get embarrassed and be sent home packing. This brings me to my segment I like to call Story Time, and it's kind of not hockey related, but it's Vegas related, so I thought I'd share it with you. I think it's a great story, and it's years ago, back in 2010, when I went to Vegas to see Katie, my wife, and Miss USA. It was my second year in Vegas. Already a big fan of the city. And I know I do talk a lot about, there's more to Vegas than the Strip and the big clubs and all the tourist stuff. But this one kind of relates to, that lifestyle, and I got lucky enough to experience it as a high roller for a night, so I thought I'd share it with you. And some of the football fans out there might recognize this name. I know I didn't at the time, and I still have to look up who this guy is, but Roy Williams, he played for the Dallas Cowboys at the time, wide receiver. 7th overall pick when he was drafted. So this guy was highly touted and a superstar in the league at the time. And he was dating a Miss USA contestant from the year before when Ashley Underwood competed in 2009. Brooke Daniels was Miss Texas, and they were dating at the time. So Ashley hooked us up, all us Duster friends from Maine, and we got to go to the bank in the Bellagio, which is one of those big, expensive clubs where, you sit in line for hours at a time, and, drinks cost $20 for a vodka Red Bull, and, not a place you want to go if you're penny pitching and watching your dimes while you're in Vegas. But so Ashley hooked us up and treated us to a night with her friends, and Roy Williams was taking us out to the bank just as a favor to Ashley. So we're waiting in the Bellagio. We're ready where everyone's done up. It's myself, a few buddies from Italy that I played hockey with, my brother-in-law John, my brother Derek was there, and all of Katie's basketball friends were there to support her for Miss USA. We're sitting in the Bellagio. He was a good hour late meeting us, which I had no problem with. We were playing some slots, waiting outside, and we saw the lineup outside the bank lining up, and it was literally from the door of the bank, down the hall, a couple hundred people, I'd say. And we're just like, man, this is nuts. Finally, he strolls in. I guess he was just on a heater at the blackjack table, up almost 92 grand, I heard. So I wasn't complaining. I wasn't going to be like, hey, dude, where have you been? Come on, we've been sitting here. So we just rolled with it. We had a good time. And as soon as he got there, a quick introduction. I don't even know if he said hi to anyone. And everyone's like, all right, let's go. Follow Roy into the club. We went to the front of the line. He went to the side where they roped off. He gave a quick handshake to the bouncer there. They opened up the rope for us, the back door. And our whole crew of Dusters, it was Roy Williams, Brooke, and Ashley kind of led the way. And Ashley's husband now, Chris, great guy, he was there too. They looked the part a little more than the rest of us straggling behind. But we followed along as best we could and went up the escalator. There's an escalator. You can hear the music. And we were just looking around like, this is nuts. So we get there, you go into the dance floor and it's jam-packed. There's nowhere to move, so we keep following the crew. We get roped, special table, big empty spot, no one in there, and we couldn't believe they opened the rope, and we go ahead and stroll in. We had our own private waitress, own bouncer, our own security sitting there and protecting our table, make sure no one bothered us. We didn't want to be bothered. So we're sitting there. It was me and my brother Derek. We're sitting right near the gate, the closest to where the waitress first got in there. And I think this is where it's kicked off to be. We're a little out of our league. Is the waitress came up and asked us, what do you want? What do you want to drink? I was the first one, and I asked, take a rum and coke. And the waitress looked at me like I had 3 heads, and it was like, what's that? I'm like, rum and coke? I don't know. I look at my brother. I'm like, is that what am I saying wrong? She's like, all right. She kind of just went by us then and just went to Roy and everyone else, and she left. And I was like, what did I say wrong? I don't get it. About 5-10 minutes later, she comes back with a huge tray, and it's all bottles. It's Grey Goose. There's vodka. There's bottles of rum, all the mixers, there's Red Bulls, all in this huge tray, and then there's my one glass of rum and coke. And then I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I guess I wasn't supposed to order just one drink. But so that kicked off the night. We had a good laugh over that. But the night went on. Literally, you finish your drink, the waitress would be there before your drink was empty, refilled you. We had the time of our life. Someone ordered a bottle of Patron. I'm pretty sure it was Roy, because no one's ballsy enough to order a bottle of Patron. And they came in, and there was 4 guys in toga, something, no shirts on, just huge ripped guys. And they had this huge diamond. It was a huge diamond where the four of them had like these big sticks and they're carrying it on their shoulder. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And the diamond it was full of ice and one bottle of Patron in the middle. And they made a big display. We're like, holy shit, here we go, boys. So we enjoyed that. We had some shots of Patron, danced it up, and then I had to take a pee. So this guy right here, we became fast friends. At least I think so. I'm sure he's seen, I'm a dime a dozen in his line of work. But his name was Preston, and he was our private security. And I asked him. I finally had to go pee. And we were right beside the dance floor. The dance floor was packed, and the washrooms were through the dance floor. So I asked him, like, hey man, I'm like, I gotta pee. I'm like, can you show me the way or tell me where to go? He's like, yep. He's like, I think he called me by name by then. I'm like, Troy. He's like, yeah, follow me, Troy. Literally parted the dance floor like the Red Sea, just made a lane for me, and I'm just strolling through. People must have looked at me like I was something special. Huge lineup at the washroom. I get to the washroom door, and again, we blow by everyone. And he's kind of very politely just moving people aside for me to get through. We get into the stall. Again, there's lineups in there. And someone was about to go take a pee in the urinal, and he stops them. He's like, Troy, let's go. I'm like, all right. I'm looking around a little bit embarrassed, like I shouldn't be doing this. But I had enough, I think a couple shots of Patron to, pretend I knew what I was doing. So... did my business, get out and wash my hands. There's a private guy there washing my hands for me. I'm like, this is bananas. I'm like, he's washing my hands, he's drying them off, giving me mints, and there's, perfumes or colognes, whatever. He's asked me if I want anything. And I was like, no, I'm good. I just washed my hands, took a mint, and I tipped the guy $20, I think, and I was just living it up at the time. We didn't pay for a thing, so this is why I kind of splurged on my pee break. So I'm laughing on the way out. Preston, I'm like, all right, Preston, I'm ready to go. We walk through the dance floor, parts it again. I roll up a 20, another 20 in my hand. I give him the old, cool handshake and drop the 20 in his hand. He was grateful for it. So I get back to the seat. I sit beside Derek, and I was like, Derek, I'm like, I just spent $40 to go take a piss. And I go, it was the best $40 I've ever spent. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, go take a pee right now. And I go, Preston, I'm like, can you take my brother for a pee? And he's like, yeah. He's like, Derek, I'm like, yeah, tip him well and spend $40. So Derek, he's gone. He does the whole thing. I see the whole thing part. He's looking back and laughing. And he comes back and he sits back down beside me. He goes, yep, he goes, best $40 I've ever spent. So I'll never forget that. We partied the rest of the night until the club shut down. I think they, Roy and his girlfriend, I think they got in a little argument. So he took off early, but before he did, he signed the bill. Thank God, because I don't think we would have been screwed. We would have been doing dishes for a month or maybe still at the Bellagio if he didn't pay the bill. So we overheard it and looked at the bill, and he tipped. I think the tip was about $3,000, and the total bill was $25,000 to go out for the night. And I know it's something that I'll never forget. And if you ever have a chance to spend $25,000 at a bar, please do so. If not, spend $40 on a piss and go out with an NFL star and let him treat you. But yeah, tip your washroom hand dryer well, and tip your private security to the washroom well. But it's something I'll never forget. It's not something I'll ever do again, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty rare anyone's going to have a chance to do that. So I thought I'd share that story with you. I know it's not hockey related, but it's something that has to do with Vegas, and something I'll never forget about the city. And if you have the money to party up there, go ahead and do it, because it'll be a memory for life. But that's story time. I hope you enjoyed it. Stick around for the finals. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to watch the games. Hopefully I'll get on the couch a little more here and settle in now that there's kind of time in between games and all that stuff. But please ask me questions, comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the series and what you guys think of Vegas. If there's anywhere cool if you've been there. I know there's a zillion stories I could tell about that city and the times I've had. So I'd love to hear your stories or any questions you had about my time there or my time with my buddy Roy Williams. But hope you enjoyed it. See you on the couch. Don't forget to subscribe. See that little button right here? Just go ahead and press it. That's all it takes now. I figured it out. You just press the button and your job's done. I'll be happy. And it'll make it seem like it's worthwhile. But I hope you're enjoying it. Couch's Corner on an historic night. Vegas Knights going to the Cup Finals. Let's see what happens. I'm thinking it's going to be Tampa, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ovechkin pulls something out of his hat because he doesn't have much time left. So let's see what happens. Let's enjoy it. Join me on the couch, and let's do this, Knights. Night up. Go Knights, go. Let's win the Cup and drive some NHL fans crazy in the meantime. But cheers. Let's go Knights, and we'll see you around in the finals. Good night.
It's going down, y'all.
My peoples come first.
You know the deal.
When worst come the worst come the